We are here with Brother Justin today, and our show today is discussing about mentorship for the young people in our community, setting better examples. How are you today, sir?
I'm well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful myself.
Yeah, awesome.
And what you think we are looking for in this community nowadays, as far as showing an example to be something great in our community instead of bringing our community down?
Well, I guess the big deal is having family around, and not just family like your mom and dad or something, but I guess like aunties, how we have aunties in the neighborhood growing up. They weren't related to you, but they were out for you, like the Cub Scout, den mothers and the wives of the men who are, supporting you at the Boy Scouts, and, the after school events that would go on, things like that. Like always having positive adult interaction as you're growing up,
You're talking from a spiritual point of view or just from a natural point of view? You have people who is always looking out, make sure you heading into the right directions, or mentorship, taking their time out to make sure kids are well taken care of. We haven't seen that much going on in the communities lately. What do you think is the reason for that?
I think the reason for it is you have to want it, right? So you can find these kind of places and spaces for like mentorship and, just being in a positive space after school and when you're not at home or school, But if the kid is, I shouldn't say kid, but if the person is more drawn to the streets, he's going to be drawn to the streets. If the parents, aren't really paying attention or they think everything is fine the way it's going on now, then they're just not going to look for events like that. No kid is going to go up and say, I need an after school program.
So how do you get these kids? Do you go to the neighborhoods and get involved? You go to the basketball courts and you just stop by when you see the younger guys in the street, give them flyers or something, or just tell them what you're about and what you do?
Well, me personally, no. But when we have like the basketball courts open, it's always a great thing to like set up a basketball tournament. I live in Co-op City. We have this beautiful basketball court, that was just built and no one uses it because they locked it up. It has a big old, sign and everything. And why not open it up with a huge summertime block party with basketball tournaments and things like that, something for the kids to do instead of acting, crazy, or just being in the house doing nothing, playing video games and things like this.
I think that's very wonderful. You can get kids from all different backgrounds and they can come and interact, get to know each other so we can build tolerance for each other. So I think that's a very great idea. And also, I think social media nowadays is a good tool that we can use to get the messages out, because I see there's a lot of times we are complaining about what these kids are doing and what these kids are not doing. So I think we need to get more involved in what we do. And you are setting a great example, especially for me as a father, as a man of God who takes my time out to mentor to these people out here, especially the younger generation. What do you think about getting kids involved in ministry, Sunday school, stuff like that? Don't you think that would help somewhat?
Why not? Right? It's not violent. It's not negative, unless you believe church and spirituality is negative. But I don't know anyone who thinks that way. So, like, why not? Like, it's something where it's like, once again, it's a positive space. If the child's not into it, then I guess there's some workaround. But growing up, I did the Sunday school thing. Growing up Catholic, and even then, I was still going to Baptist church. My grandmama was Protestant, and all my friends were Baptist.
Amen.
Yeah, so I was all over the place doing these things.
You see, the thing is, we're not trying to push religion down anyone's throat, but it's just you can be open-minded, and then you choose where you go from there. Because I think that's more better than just telling people it's going to be based specifically towards this situation, because that's where you find out you push away a lot of people. You see, you give them their own right to choose what they want to do. And you can say it's a 7-year-old kid, a 5-year-old kid, or a 4-year-old kid, but nowadays these kids know what's going on, right? You can't hide too much from them. So I think that's, you're doing a wonderful job in this community, and we need more people like you, more men like you to, you know what I'm saying, set an example. Because I tell you, when I was growing up, my grandfather was my role model, and he the one who sets what I'm doing right now. You know, because of him, he instilled certain things in me, and I'm here, you know, using this media to reach out to the younger generation out here, because we cannot just sit back and keep on complaining. You hear it on the bus in different places all the time. All these kids nowadays, the younger generation. I mean, we all were young kids and younger. As I told my little 7-year-old yesterday, I said, "Oh, the things you try to pull on me, I've been there, done that." Like I used to hear my parents, grandparents say, you know. But you know, it's a wonderful adventure we are heading into.
Yeah.
So, what do you normally do on a weekly basis trying to get your movement going?
On a weekly basis, well, I tell you, like I go to school, I do my own like side projects, you know, having to do with therapy and counseling and things like that. I don't counsel any youth or anything, but what I'm doing specifically to help the community out, I mean, like, part of it just becomes like being a good person
Naturally.
anyway, right? Yeah, it has to come from within.
Yes.
So you may not be running an organization, you may not be volunteering here and there, which
Yes.
you know, which is great to do, which I do try to every now and then. But sometimes just being like a good man, right?
You don't make it seem like it's a job. You having fun
Yeah.
while you're doing it at the same time. Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
not even if it's having fun. It's just what do you call it? Sometimes I'm trying to pick a good example where they say like the best way to spread Islam, because I'm Muslim. Best
Yes,
way to
okay.
spread Islam is to be the best Muslim you can be.
Okay.
You know, no walking out, giving out tracts or anything like that. Just being that. So whenever somebody sees you, it's like you might be the only Muslim they ever met. It's like, oh, that man is great. So that must have something to do with it. You know, that same thing no matter what the religion is. You know,
Yeah,
but
and I do understand where you're coming from. And you know, this is my first show, and my religion is Christianity. But I always says, I don't like to throw my religion down anyone's throat. Because if I'm saying my religion is Christianity, your religion is just as important to you. It's up to you for you to hear your calling, and I know my calling. So this is an open conversation where we can get our point across. And by me staying away from what you have to say to me, it doesn't help me. If I'm trying to do ministry, it might open someone's mind to have an interest in my Christianity.
I mean, but at the same time, I'm not thinking specifically about a religion or trying to push a religion.
yeah.
I think I was making like a smaller example of the broader goal of just being a role model.
Wonderful,
right?
wonderful.
Yeah, so even if you're not out in the community or doing any volunteer work, you're still a good person. You're working, you're paying your car note, your wife is all right, your kids are all right, you know, you graduated, you know, things like that. All these things, that's like volunteering almost in itself. Because to a child, if you're the only, what do you call it, if the only man I meet on the streets who's not a drug dealer is that guy who has a great job and has his family taken care of, then that's my role model.
Wonderful. We're going to break.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt us. Sad to say, more than 80% of our nation's people are affected by words. Think before you speak. Educate yourself.
Exercise and eating healthy, that's the best thing for your body.
The day you stop smoking, you start to reduce your risks. Support smoke-free public spaces. Love your body. Celebrate Caribbean Wellness Day. Make every day a wellness day.
Gotta take good care of yourself, nothing's better, and every single day should be Caribbean Wellness Day. Join the wellness revolution, live a healthy lifestyle.
Brought to you by Caribbean Wellness Day.
We are back, and wonderful having this gentleman here today. Wonderful brother who is doing such a wonderful job in the community of mentoring and trying to make a better life for these younger people. And we thank you for what you're doing, sir.
Oh, well, thanks.
And where you see the future going from here?
Where I see the future? Well, only good things. You know, I can't say everything is going to be, garbage because there's people who are working toward the exact opposite. So as long as there are people who are working toward this goal, there has to be a bright future. Just parents, take care of your kids. If these kids aren't being taken care of, join a school group or become a den mother, be a mentor or something, and do the job. I mean, not do the job for them, but I mean, like, help them out a bit, because just because the parents screwed up don't mean the kids got to be screwed up.
Definitely. So basically, what we are trying to put here together is teamwork make the dream work. It doesn't matter what religion you are, Muslim, Christian, or whatever. We all are here in one destiny, one accord, trying to make this earth a better place for everyone. And I really appreciate you coming today, and hope we can do this more often. And I'm happy to have you back at any time. You could bring a whole army.
Oh yeah, well, I don't think it'll be able to fit in this room over here. People at home don't know it's kind of a small room.
Okay. We're blessed to have this place, so we can have this discussion going on. And how is your younger ones doing?
I have no kids.
Oh, you have no kids? Okay.
So I'm partying all the time.
Oh, your man always talking about mentoring, so I thought you had hands-on training at home.
No, because
But that's understandable.
I work in a college, so it's like a lot of younger people come. So when I do things like helping out younger folks, it's usually like the college age folks. But at the same time, it makes me think of when I was growing up and having all that support around. My dad wasn't around. My grandfather died very early.
Wow.
So my male role models were, after school, guys run the after school
Yes, I
thing,
see.
guy run the Boy Scouts. And actually, I'm a big movie fan, so all the black filmmakers that I was able to find were like big role models to me too. So I went in that direction. It's very easy to go in the other direction, but I just kind of went that way.
Wonderful. We have something definitely in common. My dad wasn't there for me, so my granddad had to take that role up. That's why I'm so dedicated in what I'm doing right now, especially to my younger ones. I have my son in there now who is on our team, so I just want to set an example, be a better person for these younger generation that are growing up, because they're the ones who at the end of the day are going to take care of us when we get older, so we have to instill good stuff in them. If we try to push them around, no, later on they be doing this to us. So.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, we have to do the right thing.
You gotta take care of you when you're old and gray, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm glad to have you here today, and you can come and visit us another time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's good to have Justin back today on the Sergent Experience. And the last time we was here together, we had a good chat about mentorship for the younger kids who is coming up, and today I want to talk to you about school, education. We need education to succeed in this country, and I know that you're a college student, and I'd like to have you talk about your experience going to school at the moment.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me back.
You're welcome.
It's been a little while. But the experience of going to school, I'm going to be 38 in 1 month. This is my third school right now.
Awesome.
So I turned 18, went to the University of Dayton, all the way out in Ohio.
Whoa.
Studied communication. Dropped out, but then came back and did Bronx Community College. Dropped out, but it was for media studies. So now I'm finally going to finish my degree at College in New Rochelle for communication.
Wonderful. And you mentioned that you're from Co-op City, so I know there's a lot of younger, especially black young men live in that area. And I also have family members in Co-op City. And do the younger kids in your neighborhood have an idea that you're going to school at this age and what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, up till about a week ago, I used to work at the college also.
Awesome.
So everyone who goes to the school knows who I am, and everyone knows in the little area that I work there and that I go to school there and everything. So they see me. I'm out and about. But as far as like the youth and all that, real young, I don't really, have like any roots in that. Like I go out and do my own thing, and everyone I know from Co-op City is like comes from being around the school.
Awesome. So Do you partake in any kind of events? I know Co-op City got a lot of leagues and basketball and baseball and all that good stuff for the youth.
Well, no.
No, okay.
No, I don't want to sound too boring, but no. I mean, I have been trying to set up a movie club over at the school and
Wonderful.
try to see if I can kind of branch that out to other campuses and to the main campus and just kind of have like a movie going, theater going experience for people. So if they want to bring their own kids, that's fine, but it's not really, I haven't really been thinking of the wider neighborhood. I've really been thinking about the school community.
And as I understand, you're a television producer at the moment, so, and plus you're going to school for the same thing, so you have quite a few tools underneath your belt that's going to bring you your success, and I know your success will be coming, and you'll probably then be able to share a lot of it with the younger generation.
Yeah, well, God
Co-op
willing,
City.
yeah.
Amen, amen. So, how is the feel? I mean, is there a lot of jobs, or what areas can you partake in?
Well, here's my kind of plan of action as far as my career, So I want to, obviously graduate college, get my bachelor's degree in liberal arts with a communication concentration, and then I'm going straight to grad school. So I would think with a media studies background or even like a film studies background, it would just be, I would think that I can get into advertisement or, I would love to be an editor. For some reason I enjoyed editing when I used to edit, so I like to do that. I knew one of my internships years back was with a guy who did trailers for movies. We were working for a studio, so it was like that was like the coolest job ever for some reason to me back then. So there's jobs all over the place. It's just kind of like where you look. And then also once with a master's degree, I can always teach.
So after your master's degree, I might see you venturing out in Hollywood. Not Denzel, but
Well, Denzel's from right over there, so
he's
Mount
from,
Vernon.
Oh, he's from Mount Vernon. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're going to be another New Yorker in the
Yeah, so
spotlight.
I could be Denzel.
Awesome. So, does this career has anything to do with like the radio, television,
Yeah,
or
that's-
theater? Is all mixed in?
Yeah, well, communication is all about, I'm trying to talk to you, and it's all about what language I'm using, what noise is in the way to block it. So it's just putting that across onto you. So that it's kind of like a broader spectrum. So when you think about it, it includes radio, includes television, includes like the performing arts, theater, things like that, So yeah, I mean, it's all in that. My concentration just happens to be specifically in like television and movies, like studies, like why certain shots work and why the script needs to be done here this way and X, Y, and Z. But if I preferred radio instead, there'd be plenty of studies for radio in there also.
So being here at this moment is like you're in the environment where you pretty much know what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you probably can do multiple things. I probably can interview you here, you go back here, you work here, you work the cameras. That's so awesome. That's multitasking in an area that you're familiar with. And you mentioned something about teaching this stuff. What kind of age group would you be thinking of teaching?
I kind of have a short fuse, so I prefer college students.
College student. Because this field can be taught at from what level of schooling?
Well, I would say high school on up. When I was a senior in high school is when I first started taking classes with, for like studio work, working the camera and figuring out montage and how to edit. Back then it was linear editing, so it's like two VCRs stuck together and you're editing that way. Things like that.
Was someone in the family doing this kind of work, or when did you fall in love with this, and why?
Yeah, no one in my family.
No one in your family.
I mean, I probably have like some uncles that have passed before I was born who were
okay.
into it. But I think as a young boy, right, growing up in Harlem, we had a video store like 2 blocks away.
Awesome.
And we had a movie theater 3 blocks away. So I spent a lot of time renting videos and watching movies and things like that. And just by watching that, just kind of like what I noticed was like, I would say, okay, well, this can be done better. That can be done better. I wouldn't have heard the character do this. I'd rather her do that, things like that. So I'd write that stuff down. And, fast forward, 20 something years, that kind of thing is like what we call like shot lists and like, film treatments and all that kind of stuff. It was just kind of preparing myself doing that. Then I was writing scripts in high school and things like that.
Awesome.
So it all just started from watching movies and knowing what I liked and knowing what I didn't like and wanting to change what I didn't like. And it just kind of blossomed.
Because I mentioned to you one time about how would you go about, you told me you was interested in doing your own show, and I asked you, how would you write your own material? And you basically told me yes, and I thought that was very excellent. You want to adventure in all areas, and that's very very open-minded. I mean, sometimes you have people who is helping you, but you can put more time in your stuff that you are doing. And what I notice a lot nowadays, a lot of people go into a field because of it's pain. But from what I'm getting from you is you have a passion for it.
Yes, yeah. Like most artistic studies, I do not plan on being rich. I know that going in.
Yeah.
And working at a school also, I see a lot of people come in and say, well, I want to take nursing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much like the hardest class you can take.
Yes.
You know what it is.
Yes,
it's
I'm
extremely hard.
Also,
yeah, so, and you go and you ask them why, and it's like, oh, because they're hiring. And it's like, I mean, that's not a good reason. Like, I mean, I can't knock them.
Yeah, you can't knock them because of the way society is and things is very
For all I
expensive.
know, they go in and knock it out the park and become like an awesome nurse. You know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'd rather do what I love.
Yeah, that's, I was thinking the same way before I even asked you this, even before you came up with that question, because as I say, I'm in a nursing field, and I have compassion for people, helping people, and I see in the field now, there's a lot of people who have compassion for doing it, but there's a lot of people who is just about the dollar, and as you say, you can't knock anyone, but I think when the Nightingale lady, she started in nursing back in the days, her goal was to help, the sickly, and back then it wasn't a money thing. So, a lot of things have lost its feel for what it's supposed to really be. But, as I said, people do what they do, and everybody have their own mindset, and I can't just push my way of thinking on them,
Yeah,
but
you definitely can.
it's good to see as a man of color, adventuring out in a field like that. But it's not too many of us brothers are in that field, and you have people who interested on doing that same thing. One day, they think, I could be the next Denzel, I could be the next Morgan Freeman, and don't let age stop you. You're still a young man, strength, and stay focused, and you can accomplish everything. So, you planning on doing this stuff in here in this wonderful city? Or I know Los Angeles is a good place.
No, I prefer New York City. I've never been to California, but
Okay.
it's just I prefer, like, one of my ideas for a program is really just kind of like a film criticism, film talk. Like, kind of like what we're doing, but it's basically what's been going on in the past week or so in the film, in the business.
Oh, wonderful.
And I noticed that when you go on YouTube, when you go on other websites, it's all based out of LA. Every single one of them based out of LA.
Yeah, so
You might see a couple of guys in Brooklyn do that. So I just wanted to give like a New York look to it,
New York
Like,
City.
I love the city, even though sometimes I hate it, but I love it, I can't imagine myself being out there, working in a field where I can do it just as easily here in New York.
So, do you think a lot of these well-known, well-established people out here have some college background in media, or?
You don't really need it.
Like,
You don't really need college. No, but I mean, I go to college because I enjoy learning about it. But if you can read and you can afford the books, then you know pretty much as I do, or pretty much as much as any master's degree, PhD out there.
Yeah, I think you can not go to school and still know just as a person who has been to school with a master's in that field. But I also think it looks great on your resume, and it also gives you a push because, in my sense, I've been cooking for probably 20 years or so. And the reason why I went back to school to be a certified chef is the fact that I was getting underpaid. I mean, a lot of the young guys who was coming out of culinary school, I was teaching them, you know what I'm saying? And they knew the book stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I decided, oh, I'm teaching these guys, not hating on them. They're getting all the positions, stepping up and making more money. So I decided, you know what I'm saying? For my own good, for my family good, I just went back to school and got certified. So yeah, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I look at school as more than getting a degree. It's a fellowship. How you think?
Yeah, I mean, as a fellowship, what you mean by being around other people who
Around
are on the
people, yeah,
same.
meeting people, find about the world, find about. Yeah, it's not about, like I tell students on campus, I say, people killing themselves over trying, oh, I gotta get an A, I gotta A. I understand. Try to do your best, right? But if you don't get an A, it's all right. Enjoy it as you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because as I said, I think once you focus on enjoying school, then you have a better chance of getting a good grade. But if you stay miserable worrying about a good grade, that's not going to be too much in your
Yeah.
benefit.
'Cause-
So, what else do you like to do?
What else do I like to do? I like to go out and see the city, you know? Like, I know it's kind of, I get like real into like movies and like just entertainment in general, so I do a lot of that. I was out at the American Ballet Theater last week to watch Romeo and Juliet.
Whoa.
This week and next week I'm doing the New York Asian Film Festival. You know,
Awesome.
I'm just trying to like see the city and do stuff. And I know Restaurant Week is coming up in about a week or so, so I'm gonna be doing that. You know,
Okay.
yeah, just like I've spent a lot of time just kind of cooling my heels, like just either going to school or just working and not really doing anything. And now I just kind of feel like I need to like branch out a bit.
So
But
it's a lot of, you get involved in a lot of field work.
not yet. I haven't done field work in a while, but
Okay.
I look forward to doing it in the coming months. But yeah, because what I ended up doing is like you have 24 hours in a day, and I'll set my calendar up and just fill it up with stuff, So coming up, especially with some field work classes that I'm doing. So a lot of that time will be spent being outside in the field.
Awesome.
Yeah. At the same time, I have an art class too. I shouldn't have signed up for that class.
Wonderful. So you pretty much keep yourself busy, but it's best to be in the right place than at the wrong place at the wrong time. So you're doing a wonderful job. It's setting an example because I really admire the stuff that you're doing. I said I really have to get you on the show today to really get this out to the people out there, especially the younger ones. You can do something for yourself. You're never too old to have something that you like, something that give you some progress and move you on in life. So it's nice to have you here today, Justin.
Yeah, thanks for
what I'm
having
saying?
me.
Best of wishes to you and stay strong.
All right, stay strong, man.